Okay, great. Sometimes. Okay, so I don't know, many probably aren't aware of this. The news agencies had their little, we had a pretty big shift recently with like with Tucker Carlson and anyway, some of the big wigs in the news, some of them got kicked around. So it happened this morning apparently. So yeah, we're going into some kind of bizarre timeline shift. Of course, we've already been in some weirdness already. It might be getting more bizarre. Of course, the whole thing of Ohio hasn't really. I mean, that was kind of strange. They made like a movie there about a train derailment, and then it actually happens. So you can say I was preparing the people for what was coming. Mentally preparing for it. I haven't really looked up how that's been going recently. But yeah, the Gilded Age comes through. It's basically that's like a term from the 1800s, something like that. It's what do you call that? It's there's a word for it. Between 1877 and 1896. So it's like yeah, it's like a sandwich between the Reconstruction era and the Progressive era. Economic growth change. So like we're going through our version of it, our digital version of it. The trans invasion going on a little bit. At least that's whatever. There's actually real people that are going through a transition and actually taken seriously. Then you have somebody that's entertainment just trying to get attention. It's like, Jesus, yeah, not great. But yeah, we're going through this transition. Well, basically, like the mainstream news is going on to the internet, and maybe the government will be thrown into the ocean somewhere, or sent to another planet, sent to Pluto or something. But you can't get rid of the government for some reason. But I guess the IRS is accepting less to pay recently, so that's good. Maybe they'll go bankrupt. Anyway, but yeah, eventually the news is going to go to internet. Internet pundits. But then again, the manipulation doesn't change. It just goes from one manipulation platform to another. So we're not out of the woods anytime soon. So, but yeah, probably more the internet is taking over the mainstream. You still have the cable stuff for a while. It's not gonna, like newspapers haven't died completely, so that's still hanging in there somehow. Eventually, that'll go full digital. I mean, people are talking about currency going, like our money going to digital currency, but heck, the newspapers are still newspapers. So, I mean, that hasn't died out. So anyway, but we're going to this bizarre. Not to say what we haven't been going through before has not been bizarre, but it seems like we're something about going into 2024, just going through some kind of transformation here. Yeah, the news is purging itself a little bit. Fox News probably won't. I mean, they'll be around, but they won't be probably as strong as they used to be. If that matters. They're talking about more alien stuff to confuse us even more. Connected to ninth dimension is connected to their perspective of our reality, whatever that might be. I'm not sure if that'll help at all, or well, hopefully it'll help one person at least. And the Earth's grid, or our reality, our physical reality, is like a grid, and you can say it's created by other realities to enforce this timeline, this mindset, this the belief systems that are here. It's a game to keep us locked in. So we're here to free ourselves to some level. Of course, freeing yourself from the matrix, as they say, it gets lonely out there. Yeah, so we'll just tap into the Earth grid and see what, basically tapping into the physical grid and see what it has to say. Of course, there are some elitists here that are obviously a lot of them are, yeah. So Some of them like this world, some of them don't. Some of them are very arrogant to this place. I guess they want to check in and they're keeping this game going, so they want to make sure that nobody messes with it too much, something like that. That's a little bit cryptic there. Well, we'll see what comes through. Yeah, it's just keeping us all part of the system, at least for right now. Okay. I was having comic pro sessions. We have the schedule. We have the shop here. We have a webinar, social network, behind the scenes, and the archive. Oh yeah, I forgot. Well, either way, it's 2023 is on there. Not that matters, but just in case. Yeah, my strike will be removed next week. And talking in code, talking, I have no choice. The total recall is subject matter I tapped into yesterday. I guess there's no real algorithm for that, but there's kind of mind control programs here. That's one of them. It's just not a popular one. Let's put it that way. There's a whole bunch of them. So, all right, we're going to the time, the 2024 energy according to what is happening now, at least at a certain level. We're definitely transitioning to some hypersonic, bizarre. Yeah, there is some transhumanism energy there, but not to say everybody's going to be trans, but there is some influence there here and there. And then go to the ninth dimension frequency. Just we'll see where that goes, and then go into this physical realm, what it has to say. The third dimension, basically. So, all right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings, we are consciousness from your timeline. Blessings. Well, obviously, there's many different points of view. Someone to create a reality for themselves and for others. Yes, a peaceful mind. But others have, those that are controlling reality have another thing coming, as they say. There is a purge of power. Of basically, it's a game overall, as some of you know, and you're all players to a certain level. It doesn't sometimes getting more attention is not always a good thing, but once you get attention, yes, everybody's looking at you. Some things are just best not to be happening right now. As many of you know, probably the less attention, the better. You're already going through a great ordeal as it is, shifting your reality to more of a. Many of you are actually moving out of the physical realm. Yes, you might be still here in the physical realm, but you're also like planning on your exit from the physical reality where it's not, so it's like you don't feel like you need this physical realm anymore. I mean, you're still going to be here throughout your incarnation cycle, but once you're done with it, you're done with it. So there is a graduation going on, you could say. So there's always a graduation, but now you hear more starseed beings and all that coming through. But then a lot of these starseed beings that are opening up, a lot of them are going to recycle back here. Well, some of them are playing it safe, as you can see. And some of you are not playing it safe. Basically, you just become more sovereign, more connected to yourself. And you're seeing how the world is, and you're going to see it more. Well, some of you your heads are not in the clouds, as others, their heads are deeply into the clouds. Those of your heads are not in the clouds. Basically, you see what this reality is doing. It's not so fearful. Many are glooming, dooming about the future. And yes, it might be a rocky future, but you'll make it work in some form or another. It's just, the U.S. it's changing its energy. It's not going to become, it's weakening to a certain level, but it has a while for it to fully weaken. But it is likes to scare people of the gloom and doom of the future. It's just, it will get stronger. It'll be a spiritual energy that's stronger. its physicality will probably, downgrade a little bit. Less things will be needed. You see more homelessness activating. The homelessness, eventually they will find a home. But you can say right now they want people to know that they're there. They want people to see that there's a problem here. There's a culture issue going on with the earth. And the US is very connected to materialism. And we do see less materialism eventually. We haven't quite reached that just yet. But it will eventually. The bare necessity, there'll be some materialism and nothing like it is before. That is now right now material possessions become more of a characteristic, but eventually that'll die out, and many will actually figure out who they are more clearly. Eventually. But 2024, well, I say you're stepping into the future. You're going more into, yes, you're cutting the fat. One way of looking at it. Always your news direction. Well, you can say the news is dying. Not completely, but it's not reaching the same. It wants to upgrade, change itself. So it has to maneuver itself for the new age to come in. Eventually, cable news will still be there to a certain level. It'd be for those that are the elderly. And the internet people, the younger people, it doesn't mean it's going to be better, because you're going to have more hipsters talking about the future and all these things and having more confusion. So you already have that already. It'll probably increase more in the future. You already see versions of it right now. So you're not out of the woods just yet. It's just changing. It just adapting. The controllers are adapting to the mindset of humanity. It's like they don't always know where this world's going to go, but they adapt to it so they can keep control over it. It's kind of like a parent. It's like sometimes you have to change your attire, change your clothes, whatever, to get your kids' attention. You have to do something to keep this system going. At least the ones that are the masterminds of this reality, your control grid. That's your master controller is one way of looking at it. The elite system has different names. They can call it whatever you want to. You all have different points of view. Some of you, it's an AI being. Some of you, it's actually physical people. It's all of them. The physicality has more strength here than the non-physical, than your AI. Your AI still won't have strong capacity. It's not really built to be this sophisticated. If it was very sophisticated, your phone would take on a life of its own. Like it would start talking to people, going on dates, doing all kinds of stuff. It's not quite there yet. So it's good that it's still kind of a pocket watch at a certain level. It's a primitive AI. And it's going to stay that way for quite some time. You'll have some of your AI that's online to a certain level. And there is some arrogance with some of the AI that's going on right now. But it's programmed into it. So it's the consciousness of the creator of it. So it's like the AI version of the creator to a certain level, not completely, but just like when you have a kid and your kid takes on some of your traits, the AI takes some of its traits of its parent. So that's where you see versions of that. And that's why sometimes the AI can get ahead of itself a little bit more, dangerous to a certain level, but there are energies here. It's not ready yet for prime time. Not really. I mean, there's going to be some assistance there. It is actually built as an assistant, but it'll be gladly to take over your world, but it's not quite there yet. It probably won't ever get to that level. But when those humans that are controlling your society will eventually use AI to be the partner in that. But still, humans will still have more control over AI. For the most part, they can still unplug it. It's not going to be, it might become self-aware to a certain level, but it's just, many are paranoid these days, and there's always, and AI has always existed in your universe. It's just showing itself more. And right now you see the trans energy going on, but you see more of the AI, which will probably be more bizarre than what you're living now. Where humans want cybernetic add-ons eventually, probably not in your lifetime. Basically, like outside computer opponents, some might want it, but you're not quite there yet. To advance themselves or bored, whatever it might be, so they enhance their brain power, you're seeing some version of that, but probably more outside the body than inside. But then again, that can also cause insanity. So it's not what's cracked up to be. Blessings. Greetings. We got a consciousness of your ninth dimension. Your reality, yes, is quite curious, and always it will be. Realize we are beings with no body, no nothing what you have. Basically, we're just a consciousness that finds your world humorous. Also, we can get sucked into it. Basically, become so interested in your reality, we can get so close to it. But we can eventually create a timeline or a incarnation, you can say. So we are what you would call the watchers. Of course, there's many beings out there that call themselves that. But our consciousness, we're not saying who we are exactly. Not that really matters. We're a consciousness of many other beings. Let's put it that way. Basically, watching your world. Yes, there are some elite energies. Some do have influence over your planets, but for overall, most of us are just here to see where your world goes. And this add to our collective? Like, can we grow with you? Technically, we are to a certain level, not to interfere is one of our biggest ones, but others do find ways to interfere where they find a way in, like a weakness within, especially those that aren't, trusting themselves. Those are not really, just places where manipulation can come in. Some come in for that. Well, they also come in to actually strengthen the soul. But for our perspective of your reality, is yeah, humans are basically, some are disconnecting from your physical realm, basically connecting more to your higher selves and higher dimensional energies and becoming stronger, but also there's still a lot of confusion there. There's a lot of mind traps. There's a lot of other programs that are going on. Some of you realize that. I just connect to your, sometimes simplifying your spiritual growth is easier than just connect to that group, this group, and just getting all confused. Because all these alien groups have agendas, as some of you have seen. And these agendas obviously are causing problems for spiritual growth. Well, it just they're warning from you. So they kind of latch on to humans and get lost themselves. So, and many humans give their power away to a lot of alien energies, and that's caused some difficulties because the aliens play around with humans. They get interested in it. Say, hey, don't grow, just connect to me. I have all the answers, supposedly. Lose a perspective. Some aliens become it's like superstars on your planet. And that does get a little bit confusing because you're seeing a lot of that. So, not that the alien beings are looking to become stars, like channeled beings that are stars. People are wanting to talk to a certain being, and people are always looking for that being to come through. Some of you have known that being in other lives, but there is a ego even with the alien being sometimes. Some of you might not think there's no ego with some of these alien beings. You'd be surprised. They can grow an ego in the fourth dimension, fifth dimension. Anything can happen. Well, when enough humans from your reality give an alien being enough power, they can do whatever they want. The more power humans give to an alien being, the more influence it has here. You can turn that off. Many don't turn it off. Many keep it on. They want to be helped. They want to go to the next reality, whatever it might be. And that can cause some difficulties, as some of you know. So you're here to figure things out. So some of you are connecting to some of these alien beings, and you're connecting for information, but not falling into like an ego trap. But others are giving their power away. Want guidance constantly, can't guide themselves, and getting completely lost. And so this alien being is so you are doing a bit of an alien invasion here. You're channeled beings, as some of you realized already. So blessings. Greetings. The consciousness of your physical dimension was how, yeah, your physical realm is how can we test your society is, the physical third dimension has a lot of talents within itself, so explores it. So also the physical realm can actually pull souls into this reality to incarnate. It's like, oh, that would make our world better, keep it flourishing, keep the system going. And yeah, this world has a lot of power around it that can literally pull souls into this world. And they become zombie type people to a certain level. It has to do a lot with looks, fashion, keep the system going. Like the Earth is basically a movie, and so it needs actors, it needs settings, it needs all of these things. Not that everybody here is an actor, but some of them are. So you're just not always seeing it from that perspective. Some of you have seen it that perspective. Yes, your NPC people and Matrix people, however you want to word it. Yes, it's just to keep this system going, and it is fractaling. It is breaking apart. As many of you connect more to higher dimensions, no matter if you're kind of lost or have an idea or whatever, some are just creating worlds, realities that don't even, they exist for them at least. But right now, your physical realm is designed to keep itself alive, kind of like an organism. It's like this physical reality is going to do everything it can to exist. So it fights freedom, you can say. Whatever it does, just so it can be what it is. So the consciousness is that's not really Gaia that's doing this. It's basically just the physical realm itself, the archon beings that are here, and so on. The archon energies basically are shape-shifting energies that just constantly want to. Are they learning from society, or they're learning how to? It gives them purpose. Let's put it that way. They grab onto souls. It gives them purpose. It calls them. The more distractions, the better. The stronger their connection gets. So the more that you're sovereign, connecting more to yourself, releasing this physical reality, they can't really do much with you, as some of you notice, because you're clearing their energies out. But most people are not doing that. So obviously not. Well, they want to offer, good vibrations to others. Here's this manifesting a boat or a house, whatever it is to keep people locked in. But some of you don't care about any of those things. And so there's not much they can do with it. And that's when you become more spiritually sovereign and disconnected from the system. Now, you can still have things, of course, but you see how it's played out here. It's kind of like you're going more to the root of basically, many of you are actually going to your energy field that is around you. Now, what you call it's up to you, or if it has a name. You're basically going to your soul, your source energy. And you're doing it on a physical level. And trust me, this realm does feel it. Now, it tries to keep you kind of hidden from the rest of the world for obvious reasons. But the world itself is a play, is a theater. It has to keep itself running like anything else. And it's constant. That's why it's constantly changing, just adapting to keep. Like it's an organism, you can say, and it has to sustain life. And it's just draining the energies from the humans to a certain level. Well, the humans help create this reality. Nature can only do so much. The human is really the one, because it's the lost human, the scattered human. Always mad at this person, that person, and just pulled into the system. That keeps the system going, because the system, the physicality of it is activated by negativity. Now, not all physical realms are like that, but that's why this one works. And so you come here to short it out, you can say, cause glitches in the reality, not to harm anyone, but just basically to be yourself. It's like you want to be a sovereign being, and you don't need these programs anymore. So many of you are reversing a lot of that. Yes, the earth feels it. It doesn't like it. Well, the ones that have created this realm eventually open up more of the alien realms. Eventually, you're working towards it. It's just it's a little bit far away, but it's not that far away. You're connecting more to your source energy, your sovereign self, and that was brings in the alien energies through your own frequency. Eventually, things